Hello.
Hello?
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello?
Thank you for joining the session. Yeah. Can you hear me?
My name is Sai.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Session. So basically, we'll start with a small round of introduction. If you could just help me out with your name and your experience and what you expect out of the Qlikview session, or we'll start over with the sessions.
Yes, I've been working with database for a long time, almost like 8 years in experience in database. Overall, IT experience like 12 years. And trying to switch to data analysis, and I'm interested in Qlikview actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't get your name. Your name is Saif?
Yes, Sai, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Saif.
STIS.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi, Alpana. Hi, Kiran. Alpana, I have your,
Hello.
hello. Yeah. Hope you're doing good. So basically, we met during the
Yeah.
last demo. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
you're. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. That's good. Kiran, are you able to hear me?
Yes, if I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, can you just give a small intro and probably we'll get started with the training session.
Okay.
Anyways, so to begin with, this is my name, basically Azra. I have 7+ years of experience in business intelligence and IT. So overall, I've been doing end-to-end BI implementations. Earlier, I used to do data warehousing and then do BI implementation on Cognos and Crystal reports, basically, and do a lot of analytics on Excel. So gradually, I moved to Qlikview, and I've been working with Qlikview for the last 5 years. I've been working with Qlikview and SAP for a couple of years now. So my major experience has been with SAP and Qlikview. So that's the overall. And for ETL, I am very much acquainted with Informatica. So that's one of the tools that I work for ETLs. So worked for cross domains, cross industries, and cross functional kind of deployments for Qlikview and business intelligence. So that's a brief about me. To begin with, like just a small introduction, I'm sure you would have heard of Qlikview. Just to explain what Qlikview brings to the table and why it is different than others. So in a traditional method, so in the existing BIs or the old BI systems, which are generally called as traditional methods, the IT team was entirely responsible for generating the reports. So the users used to get reports by clicking or by going to a application and downloading the file, then doing the analysis on Excel. Now, to download the data also, the data was formatted or processed by the IT team. So if you had to add an extra field or if you had to do any change in the analysis, you had to go back to the IT team. Then the process used to take a couple of months, days, weeks for the IT team to process it and then come back for and update the report. Now, this process was a deterrent for quick decision making if you look at the way the market is growing. So for those reasons, like new BI tools were introduced, and Qlikview was one of the leaders or the early stage products that brought in-memory analytics with the capability of associate self-service BI. So what it did was it brought in or minimized the IT overhead. IT was responsible only to connect to the data sources. The front end was developed by Qlikview developers, and the users need not have to like wait for IT to do anything, or they didn't have to process the data again to look at the graphs or chart. They just logged in, they'll view the data with exceptional graphs or visualizations, and they could make business decisions without any challenges. So that is what Qlikview brought in. So it minimized the IT and it enabled the user more, which enabled him self-service analysis. Now, the architecture of the main reason why Qlikview was even more famous was because of the simplicity. So if you look at it, any tool or any application that is simple to use has been acquired by, like, it's like the most famous application. So if you see Google, Facebook, iPhone, these were all not something that were innovative or that were not new in the market. Existing products were there, but they were difficult to use. And when these products came in, they were easy to use. So for those reasons, these products became very famous. So it's the same thing with business intelligence also. They are BI products, but the most simple to use is the Qlikview. That's why there are 35,000 plus customers across the globe. So they have bought it, and these licenses are perpetual. That means it's not like they buy it 1 year and they don't pay, they can't use it for the second year. So they buy it once, they can use it for like without any further investment. So that also brings up a good job market with a longer visibility. So it's not like they don't pay up license, they cancel using it. They can have it, they can use it. So they purchase once. That also gives a very big job market. And even if you Google Qlikview jobs, you'll find not less than 5,000 to 6,000 jobs online across the globe. And if you're from US, I think US is the hottest like area where it's in highly demand. So the consulting rates also go up to $160, $200 an hour kind of consulting rates. So that's the overall Qlikview picture. Now, like I said, the whole solution itself is very simple. The deployment process or the architecture is also pretty simple. And when you look at it, the main component is the Qlikview server. So the bottom is the data layer, which is your organizational data. It can be Excel, it can be SQL, it can be SAP, it can be any other data source that is available. It can be big data too. Now using that, what we do is connect to the data sources, extract data, create the UIs, the Qlikview developer, which is on the right side, or the business analyst, whoever put together, create a UI, create an analysis that the users would use, create it in a QEW format. So we'll understand what a QEW format is. We create it in a QEW format, publish it to the Qlikview server. Now this Qlikview server acts as a hosting server. This is the heart of the entire architecture. So without the Qlikview server, you can't have a Qlikview deployment. So you have a Qlikview server, you put the QEW files onto the server. It acts as a hosting app server. Users just connect through a browser. Now the flexibility is the browser can be on any device, maybe on your mobile phone, tablet, or your desktop. They can directly connect to the Qlikview server, access the QEW online, do the analysis. So you can click, you can change dimensions, you can understand things, and you can work on it. Add on to that is a Qlikview publisher, which enables advanced publishing, scheduling of jobs, or sending out emails. Whatever you see on the dashboard can be converted to a PDF screenshot and sent as a PDF copy to the users. So that is what publisher does. Both of them are managed by a Qlikview management console. It's a browser-based console, nothing. So this whole IT, this is all the architecture is required. So there is nothing extra for people to use it on a mobile. There is nothing extra for any other service or anything. It's only the Qlikview server and the users. So this simplicity also was liked by the IT teams generally. Generally what happens is, what is easy for a business user, the IT thinks it is very difficult. Or what is easy for IT team is really not worth for the business user. So this tool brought in a mash where even the IT was very happy because it was less overhead to manage. when you look at this entire architecture. Now, the whole life cycle of Qlikview is basically you create content, the Qlikview developer connects to data sources, creates the content. Content is how the chart should be represented, from where the data should be picked. Are there any business rules that have to be applied? Everything is applied, created, and put and placed onto the Qlikview server. The publisher manages the refresh, reload, all the process. Like the developer does it once, right? After that, it has to continue. You can schedule jobs every half an hour, 1 hour, or every day. So however you want, whatever frequency you would want to, and publish it on the access point. Now the users consume data from any device they want to, any client they want to. So that's the entire development life cycle of Qlikview. All right, just to check, am I too fast, or do you have any questions at this point of time?
Yeah, just what is this QVW file?
Yeah, we'll come to that. So, like this
Okay.
is just architecture overview. So we'll
Okay.
understand what a QEW and everything is.
Okay.
Any questions in the architecture or any other generic questions for Qlikview while you start the training? I mean, anything that you.
Does the Qlikview server has to be installed in a separate server by itself, or just like with on the desktop, on your desktop?
Qlikview server has to be installed on a server box.
Okay.
Then there's the entire like the development life cycle of Qlikview brings in three kinds of roles, job roles, if you have to be very specific. Not three kinds, it's basically two, but specifically split into three. One is the IT team, which takes care of installation, data connection, admin, server, publisher, administration, everything. And another one is the developer designer. So developer designer put together is a Qlikview developer. So when the job profiles flow in as a Qlikview developer, they expect you to know the developer part as well as the designer part. So basically, our training is more on developer and designer. IT team, IT administration is a completely different training. So our training will be more concentrating on developer designer. Developer is basically somebody who's doing all the scripting, connecting databases, bringing data, creating a data model. And designer is a person who creates the UI, front end, everything. Now why there is a split between a specific track is there might be existing users or developers in a company who are real good database experts, SQL experts. In Qlikview, it is modified SQL that is used for scripting. So maybe those guys can work on scripting and really do the backend. There are these business analysts in the organization who knows how to create charts, the front end. They know what the UI expectation from client and all. So those people can work on the designer part. Just to make it more accountable, they have split the roles. But overall, in the market, if you look at the job profiles and they call for Qlikview developers, they expect both of it. So my training will be from the scratch for the developer and the designer. So we'll train you through all the concepts. Okay. To begin with, let's start with understanding what Qlikview is and how all right. So first, there are 4 different kinds of file types in Qlikview. So we'll understand how many file types, then we'll move slowly into the architecture and understand a couple of things. So there are 4 different file types. One is QEW. Okay, one is QED, one is QEX, is QEX. So the major file types that were there when Qlikview came in were QEW, QED, and QES. QEW is nothing but Qlikview work file. So if you go with the acronym, it's basically Qlikview work file. QE is Qlikview, W is the work file. Now this is the main file that you do anything and everything in Qlikview. So you do development, you do the UI, and this is the file that user access. This is the main file that you do anything, like I said, and everything in Qlikview. You even on the desktop client, you work on this file only. You want to connect to the database, you use this file. You want to refresh, you use this file. There's nothing in Qlikview without QEW file. So this is the main file type. We will see when we start working with it. Now this file also contains data. So what happens is it carries data in it. When I get this file, when we start this file, Qlikview work file, and when we load data into this file, and if I move this file to any of the folder, it will always have the data in it. Now this is the file that will go into the RAM of the server. So when we say in-memory analytics, right? So what we say is all the files go into the RAM of the Qlikview server. That's why we call it as the heart of Qlikview. So this is where everything happens. So when the QEW is published onto the Qlikview server, it goes into the RAM of the Qlikview server. That's where the users access it. So that's one of the, that's how it is in memory analytics. And the memory utilized is the server memory, not the user computer memory. It's basically server memory. So that makes the application very light for the user to access it through any handheld device also. So it goes into the RAM. Now the second file type is a QED file. So it is nothing but Qlikview data file. It's a data storage file. It will store data in it. What it does is, you will not do any development on it. You will not do anything. It will just store data. It's like a flat file. You can store it in any folder. It's not a database. It is just a flat file which will have the data. Now the best part of this thing, or the uniqueness of this, is it compresses data almost 1:10 times and stores it into QED. It is an optimized storage format, the reason being, like, the advantage of this optimized storage is when I read data from QED to a Qlikview, it is in fraction of seconds for millions of records. So that is the optimization is there between a QED and QEW. We'll understand where to use, how to use, why do we need a QED, etc. The uniqueness of this QED is it can be created by a QEW and used or accessed by a QEW. So there is no other application or file that can create a QED. It has to be created, or it can only be created by a QEW. It can be accessed or used only by a QEW. So we'll understand further things. QES is a Qlikview script file. So like I said, the developer version is nothing but scripting. Scripting is modified SQL, which will allow you to connect to database, query the database, bring the data into Qlikview, again modify it using the query language. Again, it's modified SQL. There are few keywords in Qlikview which enable you to do few things very fast and very quickly. So those things is called as scripting. Now this script, suppose you write a script, and Qlikview being a cross-domain, cross-functional solution, what multiple organizations do is they create multiple QEWs. So they'll create one for finance, one for HR, one for operations, etc. Or within operations, they might create sales, or different teams might use different files. So there is no limitation as to how many QEWs one organization can create. Now what that brings is repetitive work of QE scripting, which can be avoided. Suppose you have a standard script that extracts a standard set of data for all the applications. You can create it and store store it in a script file. This is nothing but a text file which will have a script, which will have the Qlikview script in it. It can be called in any QEW and the script will execute. So it's like a stored, script, or if you have to term it, it's like a stored procedure. You can keep calling it multiple times. So you can create all the common scripts in it. That's nothing but a text file. It's stored as .qvs though. The last is the latest entrant to Qlikview file types. So these were the initial file types that came with Qlikview, have been always. From last couple of years, QVX is a new file entrant. It's called as a Qlikview data exchange file. Now what this file is nothing but again a data storage. All these things are same. So between a QVD and a QVX, it is a data storage. It is a flat file. It compresses data. It's a optimized storage, but it can be created by a third-party application and consumed and used by QEW. So what happens is Informatica is one of the ETL tools. So Informatica processes, if you build a ETL, it will extract from source, transform it, update it to a database. Now from the database, you'll have to create a QED or a QEX, then use it in QEW. So it's a two-step process again. Now instead of that, what you can do is, in Informatica, you can build a mapping where Informatica will extract data from the database, source data, transform it, update the target data, as well as create one QEX file parallelly. Instead of me again using the target data and creating a QEX, it will directly put an output into a QEX file. So that is the exchange file, and it's very useful because a lot of organizations run these data warehousing projects, and this Informatica used for a lot of online processing of data. Informatica can quickly create QEX. Qlikview can read directly from QEX and update the dashboards. So these are the 4 file types in Qlikview. Apart from this, there are no other file types. Any questions here? Right. These are the file types. Let's understand a little bit of architecture or how Qlikview can be deployed. So basically, Qlikview's logic is simple. You have a database. So let's bring in some. You have a database. Okay, this can be anything, any database. You have Qlikview over here. Qlikview does the simple thing. It will connect to the database, extract the data, and create the dashboard. Right. So just update this appropriately. So you have the database over here. It will extract the data. And this is Qlikview file, all the dashboards, everything. So this file will have the dashboard, script to extract data, dashboard to all the UI, and the users will access it. UI dashboard in the sense UI is what I mean. Now this developer does this. Now the second time onwards, what it has to do is this Qlikview has to keep refreshing data. So what it will do is, it will every time, if based on the schedule or the time frequency that you set up on the server, it will connect to the database, extract it, refresh it, extract it, refresh it. Now suppose this server has 1,000 records. Okay. First when you started with Qlikview. Now Qlikview refreshed the 1000 records, fine. So first day, 1000 records got refreshed. Now second day, you have 1100 records. Now what Qlikview will do is, the concept of or the property of QEW, when I say Qlikview file, it's QEW file, it will always do a full refresh. There is no partial or incremental refresh for QEW. It will do full refresh. What it means is, today it extracted 1000 records, it refreshed the file. Tomorrow it won't extract only the 100. It will extract again the 1000 plus 100. It will extract all the 1100 again. Right? So there is no full refresh for the QEW. It is always a, there is no incremental or partial refresh for QEW. It is always a full refresh. So what this does is, every time it will connect to the database, refresh, connect to the database, refresh, connect to the database, refresh. This process will incur, it's not a right process anyway. If you look at the optimization or techniques or the standards, IT standards, it is not a standard process where it will connect to the database and keep refreshing the data. The reason being, if this is a transactional database, there's a lot of load on the database every time Qlikview refreshes. It becomes pretty challenging, right? So it is not a right method to deploy it. So what Qlikview did was, they brought in an intermediate layer. Now the intermediate layer is nothing but the QEDs. So this is QEW file. So Qlikview brought in the intermediate layer, which is more to do with QEDs. So what Qlikview did was, you extract data from database, store it to a QED. From a QED, you read it to a QEW. Okay. So this is our QEW. This is our QED database. Now the advantage of this is, today you had 1000 records. Okay. This is QEW is always full refresh, but at the QED you can do incremental refresh. So at a QED level, you can do incremental. So whenever you are talking or referring in Qlikview, you are referring to incremental reload or incremental load. It is always at the QED stage. So you do an incremental load to a QED. You can't do an incremental load to a QEW. So this is one concept that you have to remember throughout Qlikview deployment, and in your interviews also it might come as like a tricky question asking you, where do you do incremental load? So your incremental load is always at the QED level. What Qlikview did was, it brought in a layer in between where you extract the data, store it to QED, so the 1000 records are stored, and then read it to QEW. Now I know the obvious question over here is, why this two-stage process? First thing. Second thing is, this will obviously increase the time is the question for everybody. So over here you have the direct connectivity. It might take you 30 minutes to do this. Okay, so we'll assume it takes 30 minutes to load the data from record. Now if I do this 30 again, it becomes 1 hour, right? Or marginal increase in time also is like a lot of time. Now basically Qlikview, what it did was, it did it in two ways. So imagine on the first day you did the 1000 records, so it takes 30 minutes. Okay, if you're doing a full reload also, the first time it will take 30 minutes for data to load from a database to QED, but from a QED to a QEW file, it will not even take a minute. So it will be less than a minute reload. So that's the optimization between QED and a QEW. So no matter how long, like it might take really long from a database to a Qlikview, but from a QED to a Qlikview file, it is hardly a fraction of seconds. So that is the optimization level they have built in. So that plays to our advantage and doesn't increase the time, that like it doesn't bloats up the time or it doesn't create a really hard process. This is the major observation, but the actual solution is, the next day onwards, when you load only 100 records, right, you don't spend 30 minutes extracting 100 1,100 records. You just extract the 100 records, add it to the 100,000 records already existing over here, which will take you around 2 to 3 minutes to extract 100 records. For this 2 to 3 minutes, Qlikview will refresh within a minute again. Over here, there will be no change, absolutely. So again, the 1,100 records within a minute. So from your second day, your reload time is hardly 3 minutes. But if you go with the first level, it is always 30 minutes, and there is a continuous load on the database, extracting the same data again and again. So that is one of the reasons that QEDs came in, and those are the advantages of having QED. Now, other way to look at it also, or the major advantages, like I said, QEW can be multiple in an organization. So you can create 10, 15 QEWs with different kinds of data. Now, the best, when you're doing that method, what happens is you will end up using the same data across multiple QEWs. So you'll create QEW1 with one data. You'll use the same data in QEW2, QEW3. Now, if you use the first method, direct extraction from database, if you are using the same set of data, you will end up extracting 3 times the same set of data for QEWs, right? 3 times full refresh. Instead of that, when you do a QED, right, from the database, it is only one time extraction, and from the QED, you can extract multiple times into multiple QEWs. So that is one of the major data advantages of storing data into QEDs. So this is the most preferred and the best practice architecture. So nobody or even Qlikview doesn't prefer this architecture, the first one. Though it is there, you can use it for your personal use or personal applications or very small applications. But when you go for a deployment or a solution, your approach should be this method. Any questions here?
Yes. The QVT, does it do the incremental refresh from the database automatically, or anytime the database gets updated, it automatically refresh the QVW file, or should I?
Okay. The whole, yeah. I mean, everything has to be scheduled, so you will have to schedule it. It is not like sequential. It's not when the database gets updated, it doesn't get refreshed. Everything has to be scheduled for a frequency, so you can schedule it. So basically, you can schedule the QED extraction. Once this is completed, you can create a dependency for QEW. Whenever QEDs get refreshed, you can refresh QEW.
Okay.
I have a question. Like, I have worked on, as I told you before, like what I used to do is this and QVW, what used to be on server, I used to refresh it with the data over there, and then download it at my system, and then I used to work on that. So, but the thing is, when I used to refresh at the server, it used to take even the updated records too, apart from the incremented records. I hope you got my question.
Right. In the incremental process, there are 3 kinds of incremental loads. One is new updated records, you just add. One is old records, changed records, which you do it, and deleted records. So these 3 kinds of process can be handled at the incremental stage. So when you refresh it, you build the whole logic over here, telling whether it is updated, old, changed, or deleted. So we'll see that. We also have the incremental concept in the training. We'll understand how to build the entire incremental concept at this stage.
Okay. Thank you.
And that on the server you do it because the database is on the server, so you refresh it and download that. For the UI things, I think that is good. Yeah. Now, if you have got this, it will get a little confusing here, but it is simple. The QEDs, like I said, can be created or can be used only by a QEW. So we will have an intermediate QEW over here called an extractor file, which the job of this QEW is only to connect to the database, extract data, store it to QEDs. So this QEW file will not have any UI, will not have any data. It will just have plain script in it, which will connect to the database, extract, store it. So this process is done by a QEW itself. That's why we say that QED, or basically the properties QED, can be created only by QEW. So that's how QEW is used to create a QED. You have a QEW extractor file. We will see that when we build this, when we go to the scripting part, right, you'll understand how this all works and how you can utilize it. So don't worry about it. Now, how do we build this QEDs, or what is the property of QED? Suppose this is a database. So you have table 1. You can have multiple levels of deployment. So I mean, have you people worked or under heard of ETL process and how data warehousing works? Do you have any exposure to that? Anyone or all of you?
No, I don't have. I don't have an idea on that.
Sorry, Saif, you have?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. So in a data warehouse, what they do is they collect data from multiple data sources and create multiple tables. So what they do is they create an intermediate storage level. So when I say multiple sources, see, your sources are CRM portals. It can be SAP. It can be transactional databases, like where you store your customer, your process your payments, your process your purchase, everything. So all these are transactional systems. Now, if you keep querying these transactional systems, what will happen is the processing will also be happening, right? Users will be using the system, updating data. So it creates a lot of confusion or load on the system. So as a BI deployment in earlier phases, like traditional methods, what they used to do is they used to collect the data from all these sources and store a system separately called data warehouse, where they'll bring all the data, apply business rule, convert data, like clean up data, everything, and store it in a separate system, which was not used by any users, but specifically only for business intelligence or reporting purpose. From there, they used to use it. Now, Qlikview overrides that whole mechanism, and Qlikview connects to the transactional systems directly, brings the data, and gives the users immediate access. The whole data warehouse process used to give them a lag of 1 or 2 days for the data to refresh. So, but Qlikview can give you data directly from transactional system immediately. But that also is risky, so Qlikview brought in the QED feature where you can store it. So you can follow the same principle over here, but at a faster pace. So you will have multiple tables in your database, table 3, table 4. When you connect to a database, right? So there will be multiple tables. Now what Qlikview's methodology is, you create QEDs for individual tables. So you create QED 1 for table 1, QED 2 for table 2. So for you'll create a one-to-one table directly. So whatever tables you find in the database, you'll create one QED. Now from these QEDs, what happens is I can create multiple Qlikview files. So if I say QEW, so I can say QEW1, QEW2, QEW3. Now what happens is, suppose my data is over here. So I have customer data, I have finance data, everything. I can directly use this QED one-to-one. Okay. So one method is that. Second method is there would be somewhere a requirement of any analysis which will require a combination of two QEDs. So what I can do is I can create a QED 5 over here, which is combination of two QEDs. So while doing scripting, I can do multiple level of QEDs and do a scripting process which will combine both QED1, QED2 into QED5, Again, QED6 will have probably a combination of QED3 and QED4, right? So I can do it that way. I can plug and play multiple combinations. It need not be like this. From QED4 can be used into QED5 too. So I can create these combinations in the scripting process and create unique 2 QEDs which can be used or which will be used across different QEWs. I can use it here, I can use it here. Now these several levels of QEDs can be created without any limitation. There is no limitation as to how many levels you can go this way. You can go multiple levels until and unless your goal is achieved. Right, simple logic is maybe if you have 2 Excel files, right, you want to combine the data into one file. What you generally do is you do VLOOKUP and you create one final file. Then you do your analysis. So similarly that way, when you have 2 QEDs, loading them and doing separate analysis might cause you trouble or might be too much overkill. So you want to create one QED. So you process that data, create one QED, store it to a QED file, and then use it into your application without any processing. So that will create, that is one of, this is the third level architecture. So first level is the straight level, one-to-one. Second is you create QED. Third is this. Within this QED architecture, right? So you can have multiple levels. So this is the second level. You can have third QED stage, fourth QED stage. So first stage, second stage. Based on your business requirement, you can add a couple of other stages also. Any questions here or any confusion?
So what is the advantage of the shared method or the shared architecture than the second one?
Sorry, what is the advantage of this?
Yeah, the advantage of the second and the third.
I mean, the advantages are basically you don't overload your database continuously for refresh. You have an intermediate storage for Qlikview, which you can utilize in multiple Qlikview applications, right? So if you're using the same set of data into multiple QEWs, like over here we are doing it. So we have 4 different Qlikview files or applications, documents, which are using same set of data. I don't have to go back to the database to get the data. I have it in my QED stored. So I can reuse them in my Qlikview files and there is no load on the database. So those are the main advantages. And the other like the major advantage is the incremental refresh. At a QED stage, I can always do an incremental refresh. But at if I directly connect to database, I can't do an incremental refresh. From the database, I'll have to every time extract the complete set of data.
So I also gonna have like if I want to create the extractor in the third one, I'm gonna have like one extractor or different extractor. The QW
you'll have one extractor here. Yeah, you'll have one extractor over here, QEW, which will store this key into QEDs. You will have intermediate QEW file over here, which will convert these. Okay, sorry. You'll have a QEW here, which will convert these QEDs into one QED, which will process it. Wherever you have processing, right, where multiple stages, you will need to have one QEW. So based on the number of stages that you have, you will end up creating multiple QEWs in intermediate.
Okay. So between any QVD and other QVD or QVD and the database, I have to have extract.
Right. You will have to have a extractor file, which is more or less like a QEW. So it will have the script to convert that data or process the data.
Okay.
Okay, this was about the stages. So maybe more we'll look into our further sessions. To begin with, yeah, I think I didn't go with for the prerequisite or requirements for the training. You would need the Qlikview desktop client. So I think most of you would have already downloaded, or you can download it from Qlikview. It's a free personal edition, so you don't really have to worry about it. So you can download and you can use it for your personal use. The only difference between a personal and a licensed edition is you can't access documents created by a other user or on any other computer. So that also sets our ground rule for training that whatever I demonstrate, you will have to practice it. I would suggest is please practice it every day so that the next 30 days, whatever we do every day, right, you get a hang of it. And if you have any confusion, you can clarify in the next day or during the next course of class, I mean, a couple of sessions. So that will give you a little bit confidence and a lot of practice. Now, along with this, I would be using the SQL Express edition server, which is installed on my local computer itself. Even you can install it on your local computer. This is also a personal edition. That means you don't need any license for this. You can use it as and when you want to. I mean, you can install it and you can practice on this personal edition server. So it's a Microsoft-based server, Microsoft application. And then you have AdventureWorks. This is a database, which is a sample database available online by Microsoft again. This is also very helpful. So this has a complete database for organization. So whatever demonstration I do, right, I'll be using the database from this server and this same database. So even you can download and install it on your local machine, and you can use this for your future practice also. It is not like one-time practice and after training you'll have to uninstall it. You can continue to have this and practice it in your future. I will mail out the links to this. So there are separate links where you can download. The desktop client is directly on qlikview.com. If you go to qlik.com, you'll find it. SQL Server and AdventureWorks are available on Microsoft website. If you go just Google SQL Express Edition, you'll get the latest one. And just Google AdventureWorks database, sample database, you'll get the download link. Apart from that, like I said, I'll also forward the download links, which will help you to download the files. You can install both the application installation is simple. It's just a normal wizard that you'll have to follow. In case you have any troubles, you can let me know. Maybe we will do a screen sharing session in the next session and we'll install the application. And this database also is easy to install on the SQL server. If you have any problems, I can definitely guide you or help you out with that. So these are the 3 prerequisites for our training or requirements for our training basically.
Okay, good. We'll do that. Our next session is going to be tomorrow.
On Monday. Like I understand, all of you are from the US region or any other region?
Yes, US, yes. I'm from US.
Okay.
Even me.
Kiran, you are also from the US? Or?
I am from US, yes.
Okay. So yeah, so if everybody is from US, it would be for you Monday evening.
Yeah.
For the next session.
Monday at same time, so, right?
Right, same time, Monday evening. We will go through a couple of things and then we'll start working on. So we'll get the installation done on Monday so that whatever I demonstrate, you can immediately or quickly practice it. So once we get through with that, so we'll continue with this.
I have a question regarding requirements. When I was I went to the Microsoft link and I was searching for SQL Express Edition. There were so many options available. It was some local database and Express Edition with tools, without tools. So which one has to be downloaded?
The problem is the links that I have are old, so what we'll do is I'll just search for the new ones. So you get the latest links, then they keep changing the links. So you can just go with this download Microsoft SQL Server 2014 Express Edition. So this page. Download. So I think this Express 32-bit. Okay, 1 second.
Oh.
You can go ahead with this one. So this will bring the Express, even this SQL Express Edition X64EN.
Okay.
This should give you the actual downloadable, installable file. I'll mail this link also. You can download this.
Okay.
The problem is these are individual tools, like you said, they're separate. Okay, not that one, sorry. So you'll have to take this one, Express WT, so which has even the management studio in it. So these are other things are all local DBs, which will give you just the DB database to be installed, but won't give you the management studio. So I think this one is a better one.
Hello, this is
I'll
Kiran.
send you the links, don't worry. Yeah, Kiran.
Yeah, actually, I'm presently working as a ETL administrator.
Okay.
Intelligence tool that is Cognos at my present organization. So I'm looking out for switching technology to Qlikview. So as this seems to be the latest in market.
Okay.
So do you suggest
That's
me
nice.
going for?
I mean, yeah, because you have already been doing the ETL kind of work. So, like in my opinion, you can actually get a lot out of Qlikview, and then you can definitely work out your way much easier or faster than anybody else can actually do it. So, because see, there are two things for Qlikview, like I said. So, if you have seen through my presentation, so what I was telling was there are two things. One is developer and designer. So you are already strong with the concepts of data modeling and extracting data, databases and all. So all you have to do is work to like understand the Qlikview methods to do it, and then understand the designer part, how to create charts. I'm sure you would be, I mean, you would have the understanding for that also. That will give you an easy start for your, and you can definitely use your experience as your, I mean, you can put that onto your resume and update it for your Qlikview projects also.
Yeah, that is what makes me feel more interesting in terms of switching to Qlikview. But
Exactly. So that's
yeah, so I recently moved to data warehousing, so it's been like hardly 3 or 4 months. So I don't feel learning the oldest one is pretty good to move on to technology. So that's what makes me feel switch to Qlikview.
right. So data warehousing is come off age now. So if you have to be really frank, basically, like a lot of companies don't want to wait for ages or like years together to really deploy something which can be done very quickly.
So my couple of questions come down here. So is this going to be only developer and designer oriented sessions, or is it going to cover administrator part.
Okay, so I'll just show you the curriculum so that. So the curriculum looks like this. So we have the developer. So 18 hours we do from the scratch to the all the major concepts in Qlikview. Then we have the designer too. So designer also is most of the parts covered. Administration, like I said, is a totally different training. But as part of this training, once you create a QEW file, I'll demonstrate how you could publish it on a server.
This is
That
more or less
is,
administrator oriented and more of designer and developer oriented.
yeah, it's more of designer and developer. It's not administrator training.
So what would be the best role to move on switching a career with terms of Qlikview when it partially having orientation of ETL or data warehousing, moving on to Qlikview in terms of career perspective? So do you suggest moving on to administrator or is it developer market?
I think administration, like I said, is very minimal in Qlikview. It's more to do with installation. It's more to do with like database connections. It's more to do with server management and hardware management. It is administration in Qlikview is more to do with that. So, but when you look at the Cognos or anything, right? So administration has a lot of to do with the ETL process or managing reports, extraction, everything. Over here, it is very less to do that. All of those things are done in the developer side. I would still like suggest developer and designer is where you'll have to more get into it. And to be more specific, you can like master on developer, and like I said, you can be get onto the next level in the developer training.
So what is the area of thought here?
Your voice is very faint actually. Yeah, is
What is the area of hot in here? Like, what is the best chances to having administrator role or experts like me?
no, I didn't understand. Your voice is actually it's kind of it's coming in waves, so I can little hear loudly and then it goes very low. So your voice. You asked what is the best chance of, like what is the best one or what is the hard one in Qlikview?
No, I mean best area to click start with this Qlikview. Is it
So the
administrator
best area,
roles?
like I said, is the developer and designer. So like I said, administration is very less. There's nothing much. I mean, generally the administration is taken care by the existing IT team. A lot of organizations don't invest on or don't hire specific Qlikview administrators. Yeah, the existing IT team takes care of it.
What I can understand session is you provide guidance to install this software on our machine and guide us through.
I'm not able to hear. Actually, the voice is very low. Hello, Kiran?
So you help us on like software, right?
So the installation of desktop, yes, when you are doing it, if you have any problems, I'll do it. Server, like I said, it's a totally different training, so it's not part of this training. Server administration or installation of server or setup anything.
Okay. That clarifies my questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, definitely. If you have any more questions, you can write an email, or we can have a separate discussion about it. So, any other questions, Saif, Alpana?
No.
Okay. All right then. So maybe we'll like take a break now and meet up on Monday again.
So can we get a download link for this session?
Right. I think Raidu will coordinate with you and share a link with you.
All right. That would be good. Thank you.
And if I have any query, you'll be sharing your mail ID?
Yeah, you can send it to Raidu. So he will basically he will coordinate between us for a couple of days. So I will, as the moment you send him an email, he'll forward it to me and I'll reply to it. Or I have access to the email ID that you send out queries to in big classes. I'll reply online immediately.
Okay.
All right then. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, Safe. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.